Hello Peaches! So today I'm finally going to do the video about witchcraft that I talked about because I did kind of drop a bombshell on you guys when I made my fertility spell video. Also, the lighting is horrible in this video, I'm so sorry, but that's how it is. But yeah, because of that I am going to make a video just explaining everything that I believe in about it, why, how long, what's going on, all those kind of things. And also in the description down below there are the names and links of the Instagrammers and YouTubers that I personally used to get my knowledge on witchcraft. Amongst other things, I also used, articles on the internet. But these YouTubers and Instagrammers really helped me in my journey to becoming a witch. So I highly recommend you check them out in the description down below if you're thinking about doing it as well, or if you're just into it and you're looking for new people to follow, in the description down below. So first I'm going to tell the story of how and why. So how does this happen? Before, I was a very atheistic, skeptic Satanist. I was a Levain Satanist. I still am, by the way. I'm going to get into that. So I still don't believe in any gods or demons or devils. I just don't believe that there's anything up there controlling us. And I also didn't do that before. I was just very skeptical in these kind of things. I had heard a little bit about, crystal healing and stuff, and I was just like, that doesn't make sense to me. But the way I got into it is that there was a recommended video on my YouTube. I think it was called something like "What is Witchcraft?" or "How to Get into Witchcraft" or something like that, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna watch that because I was kind of curious about it. I always been into spooky things and stuff like that. So I was kind of curious to see like how real witches were living. So watched that and it intrigued me. So I watched a few more videos and it was different than I thought it was. So I had the same misconception about witchcraft as most other people do. But after watching these videos, I learned that what it's actually about, and it made sense to me somehow. So yeah, I just started researching and finding out more and more that this actually makes sense. And I think it's because I've just not a skeptic person. I always believed in ghosts. Even when I was the most skeptic I've ever been, I still believed in ghosts and stuff like that. And I used to be a Christian for the first 17 years of my life until I realized that that was a piece of shit. For me. Some people liked Christianity and that's fine, but personally it was just not for me. And I was very Christian, not compared to American Christians, most of them, the stereotypical ones, but compared to everyone else in Denmark, in my country, I was fairly a good amount of Christian. I didn't believe in evolution, I was against abortion, I'm sorry. So when I decided and realized that that was not for me, I didn't believe it anymore, I didn't want to support God even if he was real, because I think he's an asshole, sorry. When I realized that, I kind of went in the complete opposite direction of becoming totally non-believer in anything except for ghosts, as I said. And then I found Satanism, which made really good sense to me, and it still does. That often happens when you go from one extreme to another. Especially if you lived your whole life one way, you go to the other end to see what is the most extreme thing I can do that is the opposite of what I've been doing my whole life, And I've been doing that for a few years, being a skeptic atheist. Now I'm at the point where I've been for a while feeling like I'm missing something. I've been looking back at my Christianity years, missing aspects of it. I didn't miss the whole thing. I'm never going back as a Christian. But I did miss aspects of it. I missed having something to believe in. I missed having that sense of something bigger was here. Because I always had that feeling. It's just not a God. I don't believe it's a God. I now believe that it's all the energies that surround us in the different kind of herbs and crystals and the earth and everything. But before I got into witchcraft, I just had a feeling that something was missing. Because I did have that feeling of something bigger is going on. So yeah, I got into that and it makes sense. How do I believe it? I believe a little bit scientific as well, I guess you can say. I don't believe everything is magic. I don't believe everything is just energies. I do believe that some parts of witchcraft and things that we do is placebo, but not all of it, not at all. I think some of it, a little bit of it is placebo, and some of the things are scientific, like, you know, the colors of the candles represent different things. I think some of it is rooted in science of that, because your brain just reacts differently to different colors. And I believe that with the herbs and the smells of herbs and flowers, that also creates just a scientific reaction in your brain. So I do see the scientific aspect of it, but I also do believe the magic aspect of it, obviously. So basically, I believe that everything has energies. All people, all animals, all crystals, stones, plants. An example that I like to use is, you know, when you walk into a room, you can feel the energy. Like, you can feel if it's kind of depressing or if it's a really good, happy energy and a happy mood in there. Like, you can feel it without even having to look at the people sometimes. You can just feel like, oh, this is not a fun place to be right now. So that is kind of what I believe, to say it in a short way. I just believe in energies all around us. I do not believe in gods or goddesses or demons or anything like that. That is just not personally for me. Also, witchcraft is so different from person to person. So this is not a how-to guide to become a witch, or you have to believe these things to become a witch. This is just my way of believing it. But there are many different ways to believe witchcraft and the energies and all that kind of stuff. And now on my YouTube video for fertility spells, someone asked me, how does this part of you impact your beliefs in Satanism? For me personally, I always thought of Satanism as a philosophy to follow rather than a religion, but I noticed that a lot of people do Satanism differently. So do you still have those beliefs along with your Wicca beliefs? First of all, I am not Wicca. I cannot say that word, I'm sorry. I'm not Wicca. I know I'm not shaming you for asking. That was actually a really great question. But there is a lot of people thinking that witchcraft and Wicca is the same thing. So let me just first explain the differences, and then you will understand the rest of the answer to this question. Wicca is a religion, like Christianity, Muslim, Buddhism, whatever it may be. Wicca is a religion that incorporates witchcraft into their beliefs. Most of them. I guess there are some Wiccans that maybe don't do that. I don't know. I don't know much about Wiccans, but I do know enough to kind of give you this thing. Whereas witchcraft is just a thing you do. I guess kind of like, you know, in Sunday church, in Christianity, you drink some wine and eat some bread because Jesus stuff, you know. And that has a symbolism, and when you do it in that, when you eat wine in that setting, it has a meaning to it. It is a religious meaning. But when I have a glass of wine at home and a piece of bread, it doesn't have that meaning. It's just me eating a piece of bread and drinking a glass of wine. It has nothing to do with Christianity, but Christians use that practice because it resembles something that they believe. So that is kind of like witchcraft. Like, witchcraft is just something you do, like drinking a glass of wine or watching a movie. And Wiccans use that in their crafts because what they believe correlates very well with witchcraft. But I'm not Wiccan because I do not believe in those gods that they do. Wiccans believe in, I think it's the moon goddess and the sun god and some other things. Personally, I don't do that. I just believe in the energies all around us, in the herbs and the crystals, which makes me a witch. So no Wiccan, just witchcraft. So basically, you can be a witch and practice witchcraft and have any religion you like. You can be a Christian witch. There are many of those. You can be a Muslim witch, you can be a Buddhist witch, you can be an atheist witch, and in my case, I'm a Satanistic witch, but I'm not a Satanist in the way that I actually believe in the devil, as I also said. I don't believe that. I'm a Levian Satanist, also known as an atheistic Satanist. So I'm basically an atheist who practice witchcraft, who live by the Satanist philosophy, because as you very well put it here, I also don't see Satanism as a religion, because we don't believe in anything. I just see it as a lifestyle or philosophy, as you say. So yeah, I'm a atheist, Satanist, witch. That is what I am. That's a handful. But yeah, that is the difference between Wicca and witchcraft. I'm not Wicca, I'm just into witchcraft. So now let's talk about the things I like to use in my practice. Now there's many things in witchcraft that you can use, and there's some things that I don't use, like runes, for example. I don't use that just personally because to me runes, like I'm from Denmark, we used to be Vikings, so to me runes is just an old alphabet. And I'm not shaming anyone for believing they have magic, like never shaming anyone. If you believe they have magic and if you feel like that, that is fine. But there is a thing in witchcraft called rune stones, and it is the same runes that the Vikings use. So to me it's just like a little bit like confusing in a way, because I just associate it with something else, so I cannot get my brain away from that. So personally I don't use runes, but I do use tarot cards. It's one of my favorite things. And then I'm also a really big fan of candles and crystals and herbs. All of that is magic as well. And tea magic is a really big thing for me as well. So I'm kind of all over the place. A little bit of everything. I like to combine everything, you know. So you know, I like to just make one spell that has a little bit of everything, because then I feel I just like a little bit of everything. But I don't like everything. Like I said, runestones is not my thing, and there's a lot of other things in witchcraft that I'm just personally not into. It's just like anything else in life. Like there's just some things you're not into and some things you are into. Like if you're going to paint your apartment, there are certain colors you want to paint it, and there are certain colors you don't want to paint it, you know. So you don't have to believe everything to be a witch. There's some witches who only believe, well, not only believe, but they only use one thing. For example, green witches, as they're called, obviously use a lot of herbs. And personally, I don't have a label. There are a lot of labels for witches. So many labels, like green witch and stuff like that. Personally, I don't have a label because I don't feel like I fit in any label. I feel like I fit all of them a little bit. So, because I do have a very wide taste in the things I like to use. So I'm just an all-around witch, I guess you can call me. So yeah, but there are labels out there. If you want to label yourself, that is fine, you can do that. Personally, I just haven't found a label that fit me. And it's not necessary to have a label. Those labels are just to make it a little bit easier for some people, so you don't have to explain every single thing that you like. So you can just say, oh, I'm a green witch, and then people in your coven or whatever knows what you're talking about. So what is my favorite kind of spell? I like the kind of spells that collect something into a little thing. Like I'm a big fan of like spells in a jar. I'm going to upload a video very soon on that, a love spell in a jar. I really love that. It's so cute. And I also really love mojo bags, or charm bags as they're called, which is just a little bag where you put a crystal and some herbs and some incense or some oil or whatever it is. You put that in there, so you have a little bag with you everywhere you go. I like those kind of spells where you know, put everything in one little thing. So yeah, that's my preferred spells. But I also do bigger spells that, you know, takes up all the space on the floor and stuff like that. So yeah, but I guess I prefer the small things just because it's kind of cute to have a little thing. I don't know, I'm very materialistic, so I guess that's why. Now, the last thing, what does my husband think? So my husband, ever since I met him, he has been, I guess what you would call an agnostic. Like he doesn't exactly believe in a certain thing. He doesn't believe in a god or anything like that. But he is open to everything. Like he even said, like, if one day a unicorn shows up in my backyard, I'm not going to be like super surprised. Like, alright, now that exists apparently, you know. He's that kind of person. Like he's open to everything, both gods and mythical creatures, energy, spirits and everything. He really believes in spirits though, just like myself. That is something he really believes. But everything else is just like, could be possible, you know. It kind of makes sense. This kind of makes sense. And especially with magic and witchcraft, like it makes sense to him. Like he had a lot of crystals before he met me, not because he particularly believed in them, but mostly because he thought they were nice, and his stepmom, that isn't his stepmom anymore, used to believe it as well, so he got kind of inspired from her, you know. So he is very open to it. He does believe it a little bit. He's not a practicing witch like I am, but he does believe in the things. He loves going to the crystal store with me. We have this store in my hometown which sells like crystals and incense and all these kind of magical kind of things, and I'm so in love with that store, and I'm so happy that we have that in our small town, in our small country. But he loves to go there with me, look at all the tarot cards and the crystals. So yeah, he's definitely open to it, and I do also think he believes it to a certain extent. But I don't think he believes it as much as me, maybe. at least he just doesn't practice it, and that's okay. But he's totally cool with me practicing it. Like I've said, like once we have a baby, I'm going to protect the home sometimes. I made a little pentagram that I'm going to hang on the crib for our little future child when we have a child. And he's totally cool with that. He's like, all right, that sounds great, you know, because he believes it a little bit, and you know, it can't harm. Even if it's not true that it protects the home to do all these things, it doesn't harm anything, you know what I mean? The only thing he's not too happy about is stuff like Ouija boards. Personally, I believe that there is a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. I believe that you can use them without summoning a bunch of evil things, but he is on the edge about that. So I just promised him to never use an Ouija board in our own home, because, you know, I do respect him. I really want to use one, especially on Halloween or Samhain, but you know, I do respect that he's just not wanting to do that in our home because he is scared, and I totally respect that. I totally respect others' beliefs, just like I want him to respect mine. So if I ever do that, I will do it outside somewhere away from our apartment. Anyway, my camera died right when I was ending this video, but I was done anyway. So all there's left to say now is I hope that you guys kind of got an idea of where I'm coming from, what is going on, what am I, who am I. So yeah, this is a new thing in my life, and this will not be, like, my channel will not change into a witchcraft channel. There will be several videos about it very soon, just because I'm still new to it, I'm still excited about it. But there will be other videos as well as regularly, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that was the video. I really hope you liked it. It was really fun to talk about. If you have any questions about my witchcraft journey or just in general about witchcraft, leave them in the comments down below and I'll answer them as good as I can. Press the like button if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well, and thank you for watching.